Hello, my name is Amelia, and thank you for letting me speak tonight. I used to live in my home on Alma Street in Pittsfield, but I sleep elsewhere because of being made sick from the cell tower. And like my neighbors, I just want to return and be safe in my own home. The first part of solving any problem is recognition, and tonight I am here to thank President Mayor Marchetti for Pittsfield's EMS Day proclamation recognizing Global EMS Day on June 16th. It means the world to me coming from you. Thank you. I also want to thank City Council members if they have sponsored and passed similar EMS Day petitions and proclamations for the past 2 years. This year, however, is different. It is different not just because our honorable mayor will share this EMS Day proclamation with the city of Pittsfield, but also because I am speaking to you not only as a young person who has EMS, but also as a student looking to make a difference. Every student in the 10th grade is required to partake in a state-mandated civics projects, where they must endeavor to enact some real and meaningful change within their community, either on a school-wide, city-wide, or statewide level. This right here tonight is enacting meaningful change. For my civics project, I am sharing my electromagnetic sensitivity story with our legislators and municipal leaders. I am advocating for the rights and protections for all those with EMS, an environmentally induced and preventable illness. Next week, myself, along with youth across Massachusetts, will have meetings with our congressmen and our representatives about diseases such as EMS, the pending bills and legislation we've been fighting for, and the actions they can take to move the wireless harms issue forwards. I have stood next to Dr. Kent Chamberlain in New Hampshire, testifying on these policy changes and protections as he joins us this evening and stands with the victims and stands with Pittsfield and all our local, state, and federal leaders working to make things better, starting here tonight. Thank you, Mayor Marchetti, for standing with us and standing with the governors of Connecticut, Colorado, Florida, and others across the country and around the world in issuing a recognition of Global EMS Day. We are honored that you support the inclusion of all residents and are working to create equity for all through acceptance, inclusion, and education.
Thank you. Kent Chamberlain.
Hello. My name's Kent Chamberlain, and I come to you. I'm visiting from Durham, New Hampshire, home of the University of New Hampshire, where I served as department chair and professor in electrical and computer engineering. So that's my address. I guess I have to give that. My name may sound familiar to some of you, as I've weighed in multiple times on the Verizon cell tower in Shacktown. I've weighed in because of my background in radio frequency and biomedical engineering, and because of my service on a formal state commission that explored the health and environmental impacts of wireless radiation, such as the impacts of living near a cell tower, as people in near Shacktown have done. Our findings after a year-long study were clear that wireless radiation is harmful and can be linked to many illnesses, such as those that have been reported by Shacktown residents. I'm here tonight to give you an update about how the message of radiation harm is currently being received. When I first started giving the presentations about this issue many years ago, many of the people I presented to were skeptical, and some of the coverage in local media seemed to be biased or misleading. In the 3 years that have passed since I first started presenting the New Hampshire Commission findings, there has been a sea change in how people are receiving this message. That reception has gone from being outright skepticism to a genuine desire to learn more about what is increasingly being recognized as a public health issue. I should note that this is the same recognition that your local health board reached several years ago. To illustrate the extent of people's interest in this issue, I have shared the Commission's findings on a European speaking tour that included venues such as Wimbledon and the Royal Society of Medicine. I routinely give presentations to interested groups of citizens, and just last week I presented at the Yale Medical School. It's encouraging to see that the Pittsfield is becoming more aware of the problem of wireless radiation exposure with its electromagnetic sensitivity proclamation that is being celebrated today. I thank the mayor and the council for making this proclamation, which is consistent with the findings of the New Hampshire Commission. And in closing, I'd like to extend the invitation to meet with any of you who have questions, ongoing questions about wireless radiation. Actually, after studying this issue for so many years, I'd like to be able to share it with more people. So if you do have questions, please contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. Courtney Gilardi.
Good evening, City Councilors, Mayor Marchetti. My name is Courtney Gilardi. My address is 17 Alma Street, but as you know, I can no longer live in my own home because of the cell tower. I want to thank our mayor for honoring and recognizing Electromagnetic Sensitivity Day here in Pittsfield. June 16th is also Father's Day, and I want to thank the men and the fathers who have learned about this issue and have stood on the side of the science and on the side of those sick and displaced and suffering. We will not hold our annual forum on EMS Day on the 16th. Instead, we will hold a prayer vigil for all of those impacted and to pray for all of those in power to help create meaningful change and protections. I invite our mayor, city council, and community members to also join us for a forum on EMS Day on June 24th to celebrate the strength and resiliency of our courageous electrosensitive community, both around the world and here in the Commonwealth. We will highlight the voices of those making this invisible illness visible. We acknowledge that EMS is serious, life-changing, life-threatening, isolating, and for many of us, downright scary. To many of those who suffer without support, you have heard the stories of how it feels hopeless and helpless. Our unified message is this: you are not alone, and together we are taking action to make a difference. EMS is an environmentally induced illness that can be prevented and often improved by avoiding and reducing exposure to electromagnetic fields. But avoiding this exposure in an increasingly densified world is not an easy thing to do, and often we cannot do it alone. We need support, not just from our families and our friends and our neighbors, but from our legislators and you, our community leaders, our school administrators, our volunteer planning boards, our city councils, our town selectmen. No one should have to choose between their home and their health, their job or their health, their school and their health, when these levels of man-made radio frequency radiation can easily be lowered, mitigated, or removed. And yet these are the choices that myself, my children, and those in the electrosensitive community must face every single day. But with your help, we don't have to. Please visit the webpage Massachusetts for Safe Technology for the Zoom link to join us in the prayer vigil on June 16th on EMS Day, and for the link to join us for Global EMS Day, the forum on June 24th. All are welcome, and all are needed to learn about these issues in order to make meaningful change together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ann Carey.
Good evening. My name is Ann Carey. I live at 17 Oliver Ave. I have come before you on previous occasions, so I will make this simple. I am a retired school nurse who have taken care of many of the children in our Pittsfield community, including children who have been suffering from electrosensitivity, also known as electrohypersensitivity or radiation sickness. I want to thank Mayor Marchetti and Amelia Gilardi for tonight's proclamation recognizing the condition known as electrosensitivity and Global EHS Day. I deeply appreciate this recognition. For all the children and all the people of all ages who are suffering from these neurological and immunological symptoms, my heart is with them. EHS is lonely because of the need for avoidance of radiation, and this condition is often misunderstood. It is extremely serious and potentially deadly. For all the children and all the people of all ages in Pittsfield who are suffering from this illness related to too much exposure to electromagnetic radiation, my heart is with you more than you know. For the children of Shacktown, I have cared for you and watched you grow. When you suffer, I suffer with you. When you are displaced or misunderstood, my heart breaks for you. I stand with you now and always will. Thank you, Mayor Marchetti, for once again allowing Pittsfield to have a voice of recognition for EHS. Thank you, Amelia, for your advocacy and courage. Thank you to the City Council for hearing my words and my plea for understanding. I would like to submit my comments for the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proclamation in recognition of Electromagnetic Hypersensitivity Day.
Thank you, Mr. President, councilors. If I could have Amelia Gilardi join me at the podium.
And just before you start, as people are entering, please be very quiet to be respectful of the proclamation.
So I'm proud to present a proclamation whereas the City of Pittsfield values the diversity, equity, and inclusion of all its residents, including those with visible and invisible differences, and especially those that involve physical or mental impairments that substantially limit one or more major life activities. And whereas people of all ages in Pittsfield and throughout the world have developed electromagnetic sensitivity, and whereas 7 years ago, on June 16, 2017, Electromagnetic Hypersensitivity Day, also known as Electromagnetic Sensitivity Day, was established, and whereas EMS is characterized by a constellation of neurological and immunological symptoms, and whereas there's a worldwide effort to raise awareness and visibility of EMS to assure acceptance, equitable treatment, and inclusion in society, and whereas we work to create equality for all, we join with those throughout the United States and the world in supporting awareness, acceptance, education, inclusion, and equity to EMS and those who suffer from it. Now, therefore, I, Peter M. Marchetti, Mayor of the City of Pittsfield, on behalf of its citizens and city officials, do hereby proclaim June 16, 2024 as Electromagnetic Sensitivity Day in the City of Pittsfield.
Item number 4, Madam Clerk.
A proclamation in recognition